Hi friends, this is Dinky Tank. Guess what? I had a recording get corrupted. I know, it's sad, it happens. But great call out to Willow Arkin, who actually called out and was like, hey, did I miss something? No, you didn't miss something. My video corrupted. So, sorry everyone, it's a little out of order. I will fix that in the playlist by the time this goes up. I was able to salvage about 15 minutes of the original recording. I'm going to let that go through, and I'll pick up right at the point where it cuts off from the corruption. So, I have some of my original reaction, but know that the rest of it I had already played through, and it's basically me going back through it again. So, sorry about that. Thank you for understanding, and this is the episode. And then after that, it's the water elemental, which is only 15-20 minutes because I wasn't feeling great. So, the playlist will be corrected and you can watch it from there. Thank you for understanding, and with that, back over to old Dainty Tank. Whoop. Hi friends, this is Dainty Tank. Thank you for joining me. Welcome back to Please Be Happy. This is part 10 in the series. Poke Toter in the airport card area, you know the thing, you know the drill, you know the things and the stuff by now. Yeah, now, poke the things, poke the stuff, do the subscribe. Alright, cool. We've done that, we've done the thing. Now let's do the stuff. Load.
It's about time. I was getting bored.
Yep. Hi. Pixel interruption. Uh-huh. Good job. He brings me tiny things. Right now he's got one of those, micro plushes. Yeah, come up here. You can bring it if you want. You did good. He brings them as little treasures, like, I brought you something. But it's one of those, squishmallows that come in, little, Easter eggs. You! With the stuff. Yeah. You can come up here? Come up and stop screaming? Okay. You'll come up, but you won't stop screaming. So now you get to listen to Pixel. Alright. Back to chapter 3. Where we had a language lesson. And we got a little better. But now we're... Go... Don't mind me, buddy. Now we're going to go to Tepepe, and going to the museum to learn about Korean culture. See if there's anything we can learn there about the scroll. Yes, you're here. You're here, sir. I put away my study materials in my room, and then with a big thumbs up to Juliet, leave the library. Big thumbs up. Good job mastering gestures.
Fresh air again.
Again. Since I've been spending so much time inside, since I started working, my walks and time outside are more refreshing than they used to be. The birds singing sound prettier. The scent of food wafting up from town smells tastier. And I bet even the grass would feel softer if I was in my fox form to feel it. It's been a long time since I transformed, now that I think about it. Need to stay focused for today, though. With the museum as the only thing in my mind, I pick up my pace as I walk into Wellington, heading along the now familiar streets. I pass by the bell house and glance inside, but I don't see Aspen. She mentioned she'd be working late today, so she must be in the back, or maybe on a break. I follow the directions she gave me yesterday until I reach the building that has to be my destination. Ooh, pretty. Hello. It's big, with parts that go off in all directions. Near the front, there are two sections flanking the entrance. One is round and tan, while the other is made of a darker stone. It looks more blocky. It's bricks. It's a bit intimidating, but seeing a few people heading in and out is reassuring. Taking a deep breath to steady myself, I stride on up. The entrance has a huge glass ceiling with glass doors that slide open when I approach them. Don't even have to pay or sneak in. Jeez.
Whoa.
What's a fox girl to do? The moment I step inside, I can safely say that I've never been in a place like this before. It looked big from the outside, but from the inside, it's huge.
How am I gonna find the Korean exhibit?
Oh, it's okay. Don't even know where to look first. Different paths lead to different types of displays, and I can see floors and elevators going all the way to the top. Family walks by me, following a big arrow that points deeper into the building. Without any better ideas, I decide to take the same route. I'm sure I could ask someone where the exhibit is, but I'll look around on my own first. If I can't find it for a while, then I'll ask for help. Yeah, try it yourself first. Always a good thing to do. Try it yourself and then ask. I start to wander about once inside, looking for everything that I might recognize from Korea. To my surprise, there's plenty of other exhibits that end up catching my eye. In one section, a variety of sea life, fish, turtles, and others, hang from wires above everything else. They look so lifelike that I think they're real animals at first, but staring closely, I can see that they're just models. After part of the museum is filled with skeletons that look like giant monsters. I can't even imagine what kind of monsters they once were. Maybe dragons? Dragons? Okay, so this is interesting because other merfolk, there's other, legendary fabled folk, right? So there's, the little fabled Gerby. There's mer people on the beach. There were centaurs. There's fox, which is kitsune, and then there's vampires. But dragons are dinosaurs, sure. But dragons are mystical, mythical. Wouldn't they be? Yeah, you'd think? Maybe? Spotting a panel with some instructions, I skim over for a quick look. They aren't dragons, but they look awfully close. I've only seen a dragon once or twice in my life, but I've never seen one of those. Ha ha! We learned a thing! Yes! Okay, so there are dragons. There's dragons. There be dragons in this here game. I want it. Other sections are dedicated to human and fabled civilians. So wait. Are dragons not in those two categories? Are dragons not humans or fabled? Okay. We're learning so much. There are recreations of old human houses as well as diagrams showing fairy homes and werewolf dens. There's werewolves. Okay, I mean there's vampires, so there has to be werewolves. Plus plenty of others. A tour guide talks to a small group as I walk around, explaining this and that. I go slower through this part, feeling a little nostalgic. I can even recognize some of the human technology and knickknacks from long ago. I had no idea they were old enough to be part of a museum now. There's even a big mural to the war, showing humans and fabled fighting against one another. At the front is a painting of when the peace treaty was signed, which was the start of humanity and the fabled coexisting. Wow, so there was a war? I mean, that makes sense. So they were two separate, and now they're fine since the signing? I was around back then, but I stayed out of it. Just like I stayed out of most things. You were around when the war happened? Jeez. How old are you, Miho? Honestly, the history doesn't interest me too much, but I'm sure Juliet would love to see this. I'm sure she already has, at some point. Just when I'm thinking about giving up and asking for help, I finally find what I'm looking for. Large banner with some text that I recognize as Hangul. Aha! The Korean writing system is hanging over a number of display cases and tabletop exhibits. I hurry over to get a closer look. It's quieter up here than it was on the lower floors. I'm able to take my time browsing without feeling like I'm getting in someone's way. At the same time, my heart starts to beat faster with anticipation. I may not know what I'm searching for, but I'm sure I'll know it when I see it. I'm so proud of your optimism. So proud. I start at the entrance and slowly make my way through. The first section is full of pottery and carvings, like from the brochure Aspen gave me. There are little animals and people, carved? No. Okay. The first section is full of pottery and carvings, like from the brochure Aspen gave me. There are little animals and people carved out of stone, even a few made out of metal. The number of clay pots and vases sit on pedestals next to them. Most are cracked or damaged, but some look as good as new. I look as good as new. Moving on to the next part, there are a few intricate-looking outfits adorning mannequins. Some are just pants and a jacket, but most are vividly colored dresses that hang to the floor. I can almost feel the delicate silk in my hands. If I was still a thief, I bet those would sell for a lot. After the clothes are paintings, tigers and birds are common subjects, but some are people and cities too. Others feature gorgeous landscapes and flowers. I've never been a big fan of art, but somehow these are different. Looking at them doesn't make me feel sad, but it does make me feel something. Like I'm wanting something I can't have. Suddenly it comes to me, a feeling I've never heard about, but that I don't think I've experienced before. Homesickness. A painting of green forest could be the one where I was born. I passed through the towns that look like these in the paintings and hid from humans who look like the ones shown inside them. Not all the memories are good ones, but they're mine. There's not much that I can relate to nowadays. In terms of people or places, I have friends now, sure, but I don't have much in common with them. That's never mattered before, but now, I wish I could reach out and touch the paintings before me, just to feel something from the same era as me. Of course, they're behind ropes, which they keep me well back. But that's a very, very deep feeling of like the connection of something from before. Even though it's not the happiest and it's probably trauma, it's still a connection. I reluctantly start to move on again. Just as I do, a certain painting catches my eye, small and displayed out of the way in a corner, as if nobody thought it was that important. The edges are jagged and torn, but the crucial part is still there. On one side, there's a fox surrounded by trees and leaves. Its fur is a different color than mine, but it's still clearly a fox. Just across from it is a human-like figure. She's dressed in an outfit similar to the ones I was just admiring, but that's not what stands out the most to me. On her head are 2 pointy ears and several long, bushy tails sticking out from the bottom of her dress. When I look at the fox skin, I notice it also has more than one tail. I breathe in deeply, as if I could inhale the scent of the forest just from this artwork. Another Gumiho? I take in all the details I can. She's smiling, but a sharp fang makes her smile look sinister. The hand at her side has long claws instead of regular fingernails, claws that are clearly meant for ripping. Wherever she's looking and smiling at is missing, being part of the torn section. There's just a small part of remains, a pair of boots on the ground surrounded by the edge of what must be a pool of blood. Only then do I notice the blood around her lips and on the ground beneath her claws. And then the unmistakable bone-white bead hanging from a string around her neck. It's glowing like the moon. It's your beads. I instinctively raise my hand to my neck, feeling my own bead. It's reassuringly warm to the touch. Somehow I get the feeling that the one in the painting would be cold, ice cold. This portrait of a Gumiho leaves me conflicted. There's the same longing I felt looking at the painting of the forest, but those claws and the blood, those feel foreign and detached. Is this how most people view Gumiho? It would explain the fear and terror that seemed to follow me wherever I went when I was younger. The curses and threats from the farmers and townsfolk whenever they saw me. It wasn't until after the war, when the fable became more common in human lands, that I felt comfortable without my ears and tail hidden. Even then, I'd sometimes get dirty looks just for existing. The threats were usually reserved for when I got caught stealing. Still, I've never been like the Gumiho in the painting. Stealing is one thing, but hurting someone just isn't me. I wish I'd be able to explain that to them. I wonder how different my life would have been. I turn my eyes away from the painting, but I know I'll be thinking about it for a long time to come. There's no point in dwelling on what could have been. I pass through the rest of the Korean exhibit quickly, barely glancing at the artifacts that I haven't seen yet. It isn't until I nearly left the gallery that I see something that makes me pause again. Oh, scrolls! In a small and unremarkable display case, among many others, there are a number of delicate scrolls. On each one, a few old-style Korean characters are written. I don't think they're Hangul, but I don't know what they're called. They do look familiar, though. I left my own scroll back at home for safekeeping, but I don't need it with me to compare. The sweep of the brush strokes, the shapes of the characters, and the shade of the ink. Closing my eyes and breathing in deeply, I swear I can smell them. My person. I press my hand against the glass. This is the closest I've been in hundreds of years. After centuries of looking, I finally...
Hey, no touching!
But... I leap backwards as someone shouts. I look around and see a middle-aged woman wearing a badge and machine museum t-shirt, stalking towards me angrily. The instincts I thought I had buried kick in. It's time to run! Backing up, I look around for a getaway route, but there isn't one. Surrounded on almost all sides by cases, the only open direction is the one the attendant is approaching from. Think, Miho, think! There has to be a way out of this. Could I jump over the displays? No, they're way too small. Way too tall, not small. Maybe if I transformed, I could get past that attendant. I have no idea how to navigate this building now, and being a fox would attract way too much attention in a place like this. If I wait for them to get close, then I could probably run right past them like the security guard when I first arrived in Wellington. Heart racing, my panic must show on my face because they stopped a couple meters away from me, frowning. I mean, that's fair. You are literally having a survival trauma reaction right now.
Hey, it's not that big a deal. Just please keep your hands off in the future.
Okay. With a shrug, they turn around and leave me alone. That's it? My hands are shaking as I watch them retreat, expecting them to snap around and come after me. Of course, that doesn't happen, and I'm very slowly able to relax. All I'm left feeling afterwards is a lot of embarrassment. That's fair. I have a little sir in my lap, so I'm a little bit farther behind. Yes, you. He's been my constant companion for all of our recordings lately. You. He's finally figured out he can lap. Looking around me, I'm glad that there aren't many people in this area. Nobody's looking at me either, whether out of politeness or because they just didn't notice. My face is burning red, and I look down at the scrolls again, just to hide it. I sigh. Maybe it was silly of me to think that I could change myself entirely in such a short time. Considering I'd been remembering the old days and all the abuse that I went through from humans, makes some sense. Yeah, that's what trauma is. It's a trauma trigger. You went through some trauma there, and this is highly triggering for you. It makes sense. After I settled myself down a little, I turned my attention back to what's really important. While I know that the scrolls have to be from my person, they don't help me much on their own. There's a little card in the one corner of the case covered in text. It might have something useful written on it, but that doesn't do me any good. I might consider trying to copy it all down to have Aspen or Juliet read it to me later, but there's so many words that I'm not sure I could get them all. I gulp, looking over at the museum attendant. who I was so scared of just a moment ago, I do have one option. Summoning all my courage, I approach them slowly. They're just a regular person, I remind myself. Just a regular person. Just a regular person. Like Aspen or Juliet, or even like me now. Just doing their job.
Excuse me?
I hope that's polite enough, and she looks over to me. Her face doesn't look annoyed, more bored. Yeah.
Can I help you?
I'm sorry for touching the glass. I was wondering if you could tell me a bit about those papers, like who wrote them.
Like I said, it's no big deal. It's just a safety precaution so nothing gets damaged. Anyway, there's an informational plaque in the corner. It should have all those details.
Would they even believe me if I said I couldn't read? I wonder that might make me even more suspicious here.
Can't see very well, and the words are so small. Can you read it for me?
Oh, sure. Let's see.
That was almost too easy. They don't question or analyze me at all, simply walking over and leaning in next to me.
Says here these were some of the first works by a calligrapher whose name was Jong-in in the 17th century. They were a scholar who lived in Korea and...
Jong-in. Jong-in. Hello. 17th century? The attendant keeps reading, but I'm not listening. I've gotten what I came for. A name. Jong-in. For the first time, I have something to call them. Something that's unmistakably theirs. I pretend to listen to the rest of what's being read out loud and think the person on autopilot. When they're done, my head's not here in the present moment. It's back in the forest, where I was born.
정인.
Once they walked away, I say it out loud, trying out how it sounds. I think it fits them.
정인. 정인.
Aww. I say it over and over again, making sure I'll never forget. Finally I have something to go off. Feeling a little bit dazed from the enormity of the moment, I find my way downstairs and wander out of the museum. I can't wait to tell Juliet and Aspen. I'm so excited that I end up missing my turn to take me back to the library. Lost my thoughts about what'll happen when I get there instead. I don't even realize that I've zoned out until I reach the edge of Mount Victoria, right where the city streets turn into parkland.
Oops. Good thing I can find my way back from here.
That's fair. You're so excited your energy took you places. I'm still within the area that I visited before, so I'll be able to use the mountain as a landmark to find my way back. I hum to myself as I turn back, head abuzz with the pleasant thoughts. If I give Juliet my person's name, I'm sure she can help track them down. That's what she specializes in, right? Hauntings, vampires, you know. She specializes in information and historical background, so kinda. And I'm sure Aspen will want to hear all about their life too. She loves stories, and I'm sure Jong-in will have a ton. I'm not sure how they'll feel about seeing me again. I doubt they ever expected it to happen. They'd definitely be surprised that I'm not just a Foxy I met back then, but a person now. I have a feeling they'll at least be as glad as I am. I'm halfway home before I realize that I'm not alone. The prickling sensation on my back of my neck is unmistakable. My instincts are telling me that someone else is nearby. I'm still near the mountain, but it's practically empty here. I can hear the sounds of other people in the distance, but they're all hidden by the trees and hills. I whip my head back and forth. Just whip it. Whip my head back and forth. Whip my head back and forth. Just whip it. Okay, sorry. But try as I might, I can't work out where they are. It's a strange and disconcerting feeling, given how easily I can pick up even the smallest animals. Then, from the corner of my eye, I spot a bush, slightly shuffling. Just as I turn to take proper look, the silver fox I saw from the other day steps out of it.
Oh, it's just you.
I start to bend down and reach out the hand like I would to pet a dog, but hesitate. I know from experience that Fox won't respond to that. Surprised she doesn't run away anyway. That's what I would have done. She stares at me without the slightest movement. Her eyes are locked on mine. My heart jumps as the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Something is off. Then, without taking her eyes off of me, she starts to transform. I barely have time to be shocked as her arms and legs get longer and her fur retracts, head shrinking and changing into something more human-like. For the first time in my life, I'm face to face with another Gumiho. My throat tightens and goes dry. My vision narrows and my ears start ringing in shock. It's as if all the world has fallen away, except for me and her. The silver and black clothes she's wearing seem to shimmer in the moonlight, like the skin of a snake waiting to strike. Hanging loosely on her frame, the wrapped fabrics around her body and face make her appear almost formless. Her only accessory is a bracelet around her wrist. It's a plain leather band, but a shimmering white bead is held in the middle by another loop of leather. I recognize that bead. I have one just like it. Well, almost like it. Whereas mine is duller, milky color, hers is so bright that it almost hurts to look at. Soft blue glow around it reminds me of the full moon. It's almost like she stepped out of the painting I just saw at the museum. A shawl covers most of her face, but her hair and eyes are still visible. Those intense eyes. Are you going to get up and leave me? I see you. This is Pixel. Hi. Okay, buddy. Okay, we're gonna shift. I need to still be able to click and advance the screen, sir. Okay. I click with the other hand. Got it. Her gaze reminds me of steel. While they're the same shape as mine, they're sharper, angrier, crueler. She haughtily tosses her long, flowing hair back, and she takes a step towards me. I skip back, keeping the distance between us. Yeah, that's fair. Something's off. When I lived in the forest, I knew to flee when I met a predator stronger than I was. Better to get away alive than risk my life for pride. Bye! Okay. My survival instinct tells me that this is one of those times. The other Gumiho laughs, but there's no humor in it. Sharp and hollow. It only makes me more uneasy.
So, the human pet still knows when to run.
Human pet?
The human... what?
You're so mean.
Pet. I've been watching you for a while. Ever since you came to this place, actually.
I was about to say, you spat the word pet.
Watched you demean and domesticate yourself for the sake of humans. It's pathetic.
Uh-huh. You mean learn? Grow?
When you first arrived, I was hopeful that we might be alike. Optimistic, even. I was a fool. I see you now for what you are. Nothing better than a dog, begging for its master's affection and table scraps.
Oof.
We are not the same. We are nothing alike.
That is a true statement. In that Miho is not having internalized phobias here. You are scared to grow and change. Miho took a leap and is changing to have more. Period. And that's okay. And you're scared of having that change. Her words hang in the air, poisoning my good mood from just moments ago. My first instinct is to run away as usual. Something stops me though. I'm entranced. The novelty of this experience of finally meeting another Gumiho keeps me rooted in place despite my fear. No matter what she's like, this is the closest I've ever been to someone like me. That is also very valuable. I swallow the lump in my throat and hope that my voice doesn't shake as much as I think it will.
So what? Did you ambush me just to say that?
Ambush? You should have known weeks ago that I was following you. But I repeat myself. You've numbed yourself to your instincts and your potential. I saw you in that place of memories. Saw you gaze upon the portrait of one of our sisters.
So you... The place of memory. So you went into the museum and watched Miho from there?
I hope that you would open your eyes, as you haven't before. It pains me to see your existence do disservice to our very kind. Now that you have seen what you could and should be, perhaps you can still change yourself, dog. Sharpen your teeth and claws once more.
Shh.
These creatures that you bind yourself to, those human and those not, they are but shackles, slowly squeezing away at which is wild and free in you.
No. 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 Yes, you can have sharp instincts, but again, that's living in survival mode. Miho has moved past survival and on to healing.
Do not mistake my words for sympathy or pity. I would see you gone from this place.
Okay. Why, is it yours? Do you lay claim to all that is Wellington? Why are you here? Why are you stalking, oh steely-eyed Gumiho? Why are you so internalized racist towards this?
But so long as you remain, your presence is an eyesore. It pains me to witness.
Uh-huh.
Thus, I will do what I must to cure it, as unpleasant a task as it may be.
That's a threat.
You will never be one of them, no matter how much you might crave it. Better to embrace what you are and can be. Anything else is a waste of your abilities.
She studies me for a moment longer and then turns away. I feel like I should say something, but I can't find the words, whether from shock or fear. I'm too dazed to so much as stammer out a denial. Her clothes melt away into silver fur as she transforms back into a fox. I reach out to stop her, but she flits off and disappears into the darkness without a moment's hesitation. The world around me rushes back in, my skin suddenly feeling cold in the night air. The rush of emotions going through my head evaporates, and the adrenaline that was running through me ebbs away. I'm left just standing there, alone. Closing my eyes, I muster strength that I haven't tapped into in weeks. My bead warms itself as I transform my body, following the same motions as the other Gumihos. I'm trying to start chasing her, but my first steps on 4 legs are shaky. I've grown unfamiliar with this form. After stumbling over just trying to move, maybe there's a bit of truth in what she said. I take a few more steps towards the brush, but soon give up. Even if I caught up with her, what would I say? What would I do? I'd only make a fool of myself. There's a scent on the wind that I couldn't notice as a human, but is unmistakable as a fox. I recognize it immediately, from a long time ago, on one of my first mornings here, when I first woke up from my den near the mountain and stepped outside, and knew that someone had been there. It was her. She really was following me from the beginning. For a long moment I watched the place where she disappeared, then I transformed back. don't really feel like a fox right now. I don't know what I'm feeling. Some of what she said is true. I haven't used any of my talents in a long time. My clumsiness when I'm in a fox form, my own original body, is a reminder of that. But as for degrading myself for the sake of others, that doesn't feel true. I've spent my entire life living free and for only myself. It's always been my choice to remain here and to not be forgotten. So why do her words sting so much? If I was totally confident in my decision, then they shouldn't bother me, right? I mean, it's allowed to be bothersome to hear just such disdain spat your way. Judgment. It's very much her projecting a perceived rationale and fear onto you. Maybe I've forgotten more of myself than I know. The painting at the museum and the other Gumiho herself both prove that there's something different about me. Something that must come easily to everyone else. The same way all the aspects of daily life at home don't come easily to me either. I feel disconnected, torn between two worlds that I barely know, but can't help being drawn to. Where do I fit in? Where do I belong? I know what Juliet and Aspen would say, but does that make it true? Their home hasn't been my home for long. I've been a thief and a liar for so much longer than I've been whatever I am now. Without anything else to gain out here, I slowly start to make my way back home again. The excitement I felt about telling Juliet and Aspen everything I found at the museum has vanished. I'll have to wait for another time. After a quiet walk through the empty streets to the library, I quietly slink inside, trying to keep Juliet from noticing. I just don't feel like talking right now. It seems to work. I can hear her bustling around somewhere, but she doesn't call out to me when I come in. That word, I ascend to the stairs to my room as quickly and quietly as I can, and climb under the covers. It's far too early to go to bed, but I don't know what else to do. If I'm awake, my thoughts will only be a bother. Better to sleep it off and hope that I feel better in the morning. Very valid. I think this is where I left off and picked up in the other recording. Again, that's episode 11 now, which is the water elemental. Go watch that after this, and then the next one that comes out. Thank you for understanding. Sometimes things go wrong. Luckily, this wasn't too bad of a wrong. So, should be where it picks up. If not, then that's okay. I think it is. All about the Gumiho, yeah. Yep, presentable for work. Okay. I think that's exactly where I was. So, with that, I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye!